Hey, what's going on, guys? Shane here.
Vince The Anomaly.
And today we're going to talk about 3 rather tricky ways to close off the distance, whether you're going against someone taller or just good at keeping their range. We're going to show you how to get in close and get on the inside. Let's take a look.
So for our first method here, our slick, tricky way to get in on our opponent, we're going to be cutting some angles on them. Now this is one that I use a lot because usually I'm like the shorter guy in the room, so a lot of my training partners are going to be taller than me. They've either got a nice long jab, or maybe they're like Shane, they've got a nice quick teep that's really keeping me at bay, and I can't just hang out here in the pocket where it's tight. He's just not going to let me get in there. So it happens a lot, especially when you guys first start sparring and things. You know, someone's going to start pumping that jab, and then it's like, oh no, what do I do? Okay, so if I can't make it into this range where I can strike Shane, I'm going to be cutting some angles in order to get in. Okay, so what I want to do is take a diagonal step to the outside here. So about a 45-degree angle, I'm going to step. And now from here, I'm going to dart back across to the other side. So I can strike using this lead hand, and now I'm switching to a southpaw stance. Or even if I'm just taking that step off and then coming in, now I'm right where I want to be on the inside here with Shane. If it's MMA, I can start grappling, clinching up if I want to too. But the reason why this one works is this little step here to the outside, this 45-degree cut, it's going to make Shane do 2 things. Either it's going to freeze him up entirely, which is going to be good for me because I'm still going to dart in, or he's going to make a slight adjustment to turn into me. And as he's turning into me, I'm already springing over to cover that distance, and his guard's up, and I'm throwing punches or strikes. It's going to be really hard for Shane to really kind of track me if I'm going to the left or to the right. He's not going to just stay right here and be able to hit me at the same time. He's going to have to turn his body or turn his body to shield, and in those moments, we're going to be able to cut in, close off that distance. For our second tactic here on how to cover distance, what I'm going to be doing is blinding Shane, okay? I'm not going to be poking him, Adam Sandler, Captain Insano style. I'm going to be throwing this jab out here and keeping my glove actually up by his face. So again, right here in this distance, I can't hit Shane. He's keeping me at bay. But what I can do is start pumping this jab. All right, and what I do with that is I keep this up, and as I jab, and I keep this in his eyes, so I'm catching Shane's eyesight, and I'm not allowing him to see what I'm doing down here, is I'm going to be moving this back leg in. Okay, so jab comes up. At the same time, I leave it up high. This back leg draws in. Now, what I've done here is I've loaded up so I can really spring in right off of that jab. If I don't do that, guys, if I'm jabbing and then trying to cross, exactly, I'm not going to be able to reach Shane if I'm outside of the pocket here. But if I jab, I leave that thing hanging, I move this leg in, now I can really explode and push off. So Shane can't really see that I'm going to cover that distance. If I just throw a 1-2 and try to jump in, he's going to be able to see that coming. But if I throw that 1 and spring in, there's no way he's going to see it. So really utilize that kind of blinding of the opponent here to move that back leg in and load up and jump in. And for our last tactic here on how to cover distance, get inside on our opponent, you know, sometimes you got to think counterintuitively. Instead of trying to go in and always pressure and break through and try to get inside on Shane, sometimes I got to pull them out to me. So if I'm trying to hunt and pressure forward and walk this guy down and he's just pumping his jab all day long and throwing that teep, there's no way I'm going to get inside on him. I feel like maybe he's more skilled or he's just a lot taller than me. Sometimes what you got to do, especially as a smaller opponent here, is pull him into you. Okay, so one way I like to do that is I'll stay outside in this range. I'll make him feel like I'm trying to get in, but what I'll be doing is shifting my head and my body weight over this lead leg. So it seems like it's pretty close. It seems like Shane can reach me. And now as he starts to come in, I shift my weight backwards. And as my weight comes backwards, notice how Shane's coming in on me. And now's my opportunity. As soon as he plants and steps on the inside, now's my opportunity to come back in and shoot in on Shane. This works really well too if it's MMA and you're shooting for takedowns, pulling a guy into you, making him step in hard, and then changing my levels and blasting right through him. But in this case, if we're just striking here, guys, again, I can't break off on the inside, so I'm going to pull Shane in, and as soon as he comes in, I'm darting forward. Normally on this too, because we are pulling our opponent in, we got to be careful because normally they're stepping in to strike. Yeah. So we got to keep our guard up. I like to either parry, throw, or I'm slipping off to the side and throwing at the same time. And once I've gotten the inside, I can start cutting my angles, stay nice and tight, shell up. As a smaller person on the inside, usually you can get more power in your shots too. So utilize those hips, that Mike Tyson movement once we get on the inside. But the main thing again is we can't cover distance by pressuring or trying to get inside of Shane, sometimes we've got to make him come to us, and that's how we're going to cover that distance.
All right, guys, there you have it. So when you're trying to cut off the distance, when you're trying to get in close, remember that you have to be smart. You can't just walk in and get jabbed, get hit. So you have to either cut the angle, you have to blind them, or draw them in, make them come to you, and then you can close off the distance. So practice this with a partner in drills, practice it in sparring, so that you can use it in your fight. Until next time, I'm Shane.
Vince The Anomaly.
Fight tips for the underdogs.